dark night of Halloween.
But it's covered by a cloud.
Yeah.
Polaroid founder Edwin Land first introduced the Polaroid camera on February 21, 1947. His 3-year-old daughter Jennifer inspired Land while on a family holiday in Santa Fe. Jennifer questioned her father as to why she could not see the photos they had taken from an afternoon spent seeing sights right away. It was her impatience that challenged Land to begin thinking about the chemistry and mechanics of his life-changing invention that was soon released 3 years later. The original camera was known as the Land camera. This new process of photography made it possible for people to have a photograph minutes after the shot was taken. No chemicals, no darkroom, it happened in their own hands. This time in history is one that revolutionized the entire industry, allowing people to share information, objects, and images instantly. The first Polaroid contained a roll of positive paper with a pot of developing chemicals at the top of each frame. The exposed negative and paper was forced through rollers by the turn of a knob, which then spread the chemical substance between the two layers and pushed it out of the camera. The photos were then trimmed by a paper cutter, and after a minute, the layers could be peeled apart to reveal the black and white photo. In 1947, the first demonstration took place in New York at an optics convention and gained a huge story in the New York Times, plus an editorial that said, "There is nothing like this in the history of photography." The product made its debut a year later. It was introduced on what is now known as Black Friday 68 years ago. The company ordered enough stock to last them until Christmas, so they thought, as it was all sold out by 5 p.m. that day, including the demo. It became such a ubiquitous product, selling 900,000 cameras over 5 years.
It's like those black and white movies who have a tiny pinch of color sometimes. Yeah. It looks exactly
You can
like
see
it.
the bottom of the globe. It looks kind of like rocks on the seashore.
Yeah, because the
Land's vision was one-step color photography. You point, you shoot, you see your print. Nothing should impede the experience between photographer and subject. It is this experience that Peter Buse argues where the act of photographing is just as important as, if not more important than, the resulting photography. He writes that it is about the making of the image rather than the image itself, which distinguishes this kind of photography from others. When one is about to take a Polaroid picture and knows that there are only 8 to 10 sheets in a roll, one is forced to slow down and put some thought into taking the photo. This is a lot different from other shooting processes, such as 35mm formats, where the cost of film is much cheaper. Photographer Andrea Jenkins gives advice about shooting with a Polaroid camera. Her biggest advice is to think before you shoot. Look through your viewfinder at things, walk around your subject, get at different angles, and consider the lighting and what works about it and what doesn't. When working with a limited amount of film, your photography becomes much more intentional. Buse contends that a Polaroid picture is not about image content, rather photo object. This means that attention is now drawn from image content to the photo as an object. So what makes a Polaroid a photo object? When holding a Polaroid picture in your hands, what does it encourage you to do? What other senses does it invoke besides your sense of sight? How does a Polaroid picture change the way we communicate? Dating back to the mid-70s, where approximately 1 billion pictures were taken per year, this camera, unlike any other, drew people together in a special way. When a camera was brought out at a party, Bonanos describes pictures being shared as objects. A social exchange begins to happen when you have that photo in your hand. The slight delay to let the photo develop creates a moment. Trotman also writes of the Polaroid as a party camera. He states, "Taking a Polaroid is an event unto itself, contained within the party atmosphere. The picture does not commemorate the past party, but participates in the party as it occurs." People would find that the camera served as a sort of social catalyst, while after snapping a photo, an immediate huddle around the image occurred as they watched the layers being peeled apart and absorbed in the immediacy of the image-making experience. Moments before, they were subjects, and moments after, viewers. Buse states that image consumers became the genre in and of itself in all Polaroid picture making. According to Buse, what makes a Polaroid picture unique is the fact that it does become a photographic object inside the Polaroid print's familiar white frame and would no longer be a Polaroid print if separated from that frame, which itself is supplementary to the image, and that the border is part of the object as much as it is a part of the photographic image. Those taking a Polaroid picture had the option to write a message, a date, a thought on the white space alluding to the photograph that was taken moments prior. The photo object is now a keepsake that shares physical depth and presence in time and space.
Colors get brighter than others.
True.
Yeah.
Stand out. But
True.
if it's black and white, you can focus on everything, and your attention span will be on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well as like the color, like you can it will draw your attention to like the main thing that's lighter.
Children in particular, whether they are taking the photograph or are behind it, have a strong reaction to instant pictures. The process of watching their image appear out of the green-gray mist of developing chemicals is a captivating experience. In the 1970s and 80s, Polaroid did market to the 9 to 14 age range because they were the most natural participants in instant photography. Polaroid came up with the Cool Cam and marketed to convince the kids that it was the coolest camera, the must-have toy of the season that would make them the envy of their friends. At the same time, Polaroid marketed to parents, convincing them to see this camera as a learning tool and that can help their kids view their surroundings in ways never thought of. Curiosity is sparked within young ones to further inquire, explore, and question in order to increase appreciation and understanding of the world around them. These images also enhance creativity and self-expression. It was in 1949 where Land hired landscape photographer Ansel Adams as a technical consultant to use and experiment with Polaroid products. Adams worked with Land for the next 35 years, giving him suggestions and ways to improve on his products. Adams also felt that renowned photographers should exhibit Polaroid photographs with museum-quality photos made in order to illustrate its quality when displayed side by side with conventional prints. Adams cultivated a number of artists, supplying them with film in exchange for contribution to the Polaroid collection. The company's archives soon came to include pieces by artists such as Robert Frank, Andy Warhol, Walker Evans, and Robert Mapplethorpe. Until this time, photography was an art for professionals who had the patience to use a camera effectively and wait for the product. Now, new artists emerged as instantaneity was a way to express art with photography and became a strong tool of communication because of this. The artists who embraced Polaroid used the tool in different ways to communicate their art, from scraping and smearing the emulsion to cubism photo montages. Artist Andy Warhol revolutionized the perception of art, becoming one of the most important artists of pop art. He was known to reference consumer products, practice corporate-style branding and self-promotion, and produce art that really mattered to people at that time. The Polaroid camera became a powerful new medium for artistic expression. But it wasn't only the instantaneity that drew artists like Warhol in. It was the kind of pictures you couldn't send out to a lab. Buse speaks to the idea that instant pictures opened the doors to amateurs who were able to take explicit photos of themselves, which provided a sense of intimacy and safety measure. There was no trace of the photograph after taking it because there was no negative, and the absence of a negative made the Polaroid a singular artifact, also making it a material object. It was an original print that had an impact on not only amateur snapshot photography, but on a whole new market that emerged from the instantaneity of the Polaroid camera. Brain scans, dental photography, mugshots, passport pictures, insurance claim photos, ultrasonography, and real estate photos are a few examples of the utilitarian purposes it served to non-amateur fields. In conclusion, Land's Polaroid camera had a major impact on society in many ways. Its unique technology to produce an instant image arguably made it an object of conversation, entertainment, and play. It changed the way people viewed their works and creations, and it was the first time where both photographer and subject could see their image immediately. It opened the door for amateur photographers to find their true talents, and also took artists to a new frontier of photography as the company maintained a strong connection to the art world. Lastly, children appreciated the world through a different lens as they took a hold of the image-making experience. The company had many ups and downs over the last few decades, eventually stopping the production of instant film in 2008. Polaroid enthusiasts and dedicated users set up what is called the Impossible Project, producing instant film for traditional Polaroid cameras. In 2015, more than 700,000 film packs were sold, and the Impossible Project's Austrian founder believes that people are still interested in Polaroid photographs because of the uniqueness of the object itself. He quotes, "The Polaroid is really one-of-a-kind photography. Each time you look at the image, you can be sure the artist himself touched it."
Yeah, like it's an instant camera. I mean, how better can that be? Like,
Yeah.
enjoy it even like straight after the moment. It just comes out within like barely a minute.
Yeah. Rather than a normal camera, because when you're taking a picture, it takes a while to make it printed.
Yeah, because you have to.